Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It's Lisa. What you're seeing is the chaotic mess of me trying to prep for this video. And I thought I'd share with you what it looks like kind of as one gets ready to film a YouTube video so that you can understand all the work that it goes into making a video. Because I don't know, if you don't make these videos yourself and you don't have a channel, I don't think you really understand all the chaos that kind of happens when one is trying to prep a currently inked video. I'm trying to figure out colors, color swatches, kind of gather what I'm going to put together for content. And I just wanted you guys to kind of get a brief glimpse of this before we get started. So sit back, grab something to drink. As you can see, I'm trying to do the currently inked for the month of March, so stay tuned. Hey YouTube, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. And so, yeah, I did a shot where I was doing the kind of setup on my chaotic dining room table. Sorry for the mess in the background. This is where I kind of keep all my art supplies and some plants. But I wanted to talk to you about my February currently inked books that I read for the month of February. I had a pretty good reading month in the month of February and all of that jazz. It's going to be kind of a lengthy video because I'm not shooting as often. I have been traveling for work, and I've just been kind of busy actually, and kind of trying to figure out this channel and whether or not I'm going to continue. I spent so long kind of trying to hit one goal, and I hit that goal, and now I'm kind of struggling. I won't even lie a little bit about what's the next step or phase for me in this channel. So grab something to drink. I'm going to show you around. I am actually using my SwiftCam setup. I'm not using the lens because the lenses that I have, I really haven't had a chance to play with it like I wanted to yet, because even though I love photography, it has been so bitterly cold, and I've just been waiting for spring to break for me to actually get out and shoot with it. But I am using a little bit of the setup right now on a tripod with a light, which I don't need because thank God we had daylight savings time here in the United States, and so we sprung an hour ahead. So I'm able to shoot later in the day on a day off and kind of get this going. So without further ado, I'm going to show you really quick the remnants of my February currently inked and what I inked. Okay, so these are all the pins that I cleaned out for the month of February. I just wanted to show you. I had, let's see here, I actually had like 8 pins inked in the month of February. One was very brief for a trip that I took out of state and came back on a short business trip. This one was my new beauty that I got last month that I'm going to actually pull this one again to do for March as well, because I'm still playing around with that pen. I didn't write with it a lot, but I did kind of put some ink in it so that I could kind of see how it wrote, because that was my probably one of maybe 3 pens that I might buy out of this year in total. This one, which is the Leonardo Momento right here, I finally got that back after not having that for 15 months. So I kind of put ink in that one too. So there's a couple of those that are like that. This one down here is the Jinhao Pilot Vanishing Point knockoff. I took that on a business trip, and so I only had enough ink in it to last me for like a couple of days, just because I didn't want to take any of these other pens that are way more expensive on the trip. So those are the pens that I took. And here are my February inks that I used for the month of February. So the Pilot Vanishing Point, which it ran out, I had in that Venta Lucia. The Benu Manama, which is that purplish kind of pen, and I'll try to stick a photo of that up. That one had in it Diatramentis Aubergine. The Leonardo Nuda had Diamine Oxblood. I did not run out of that ink. That ink I actually had to drain. The Leonardo Primary Manipulation, the Jonathan Brooks collab that was gone for 15 months. I had Sailor Manual Coque in that one. The Opus 88, Clear Demo, I think I ended up dropping that one. That had African gold in it. It drove me nuts, so I actually emptied that one out. The Sailor Pro Gear, the black hole one, had in it Diamine Red Series Candlelight, which is like the best yellow ever. The sorry, the Laban Cambridge 325, that's the white and black pen. That one had in it Dominant Industry Earl Grey, and then the Platinum 377.6, which I think I did run dry on that one. No, I actually did run that one out. That had Robert Oster Jade in it, and then the Pelican, the brand new Pelican M800 that I had, and the extra fine had Diatramentus Blue Black. Okay, so let's talk about pens that I want to use in the month of March. Sorry, March. I think what I'm going to do in March, like I did last year, I'm going to kind of explore my pens by country. I think that was a really good way for me to kind of get through my collection a little bit. And I'm going to do the same here. So what you're seeing here is my 40 case of fountain pens. And I've got another small case over here to the side that I'm going to just reach over and grab really quick. I'm going to decide on the pens now, and then I'll kind of ink them up. What you saw in the earlier clips in my introduction before I really started getting going was like me pulling out my fountain pens and kind of figuring out, one, I had to clean out all the pens that I've been using probably for the last 2 months, give or take. I think a lot of the pens I had kind of carried over. I've been kind of carrying over just because I've been trying not to use a gazillion pens in a month. I do like writing with my different pens, but I like to have them in a rotation that I get my hands on them more than just like, twice a month. If I'm doing it on a weekly basis, I would like to kind of get my hands on them, a few times over the course of 1 month, because quite frankly, at this point, I think I have too many fountain pens and I need to get rid of some, so I'll probably be putting some pens on sale because if I can, I want to move this year as well, so I need to definitely offload some of my fountain pens and use that cost to help offset my move and travel. So without further ado, I am going to open up, since I'm doing Germany, I have a lot of Kavecos and I don't have a lot of other brands outside of Kaveco. I have Pelican and I have Lamy, so I'm going to be picking those. And of course, you already know, because I already said in the other overview of like all the pens that I used in the month of February, I am going to continue to use this M800. So that M800 from, and this is in an extra fine nib from Pelican, is my latest beauty. And I didn't really write with her a lot once I got her in very end of January, maybe like the first week of February. I only wrote with her like a few times, quite frankly, because I do have her in this case. I've got to like make sure I kind of leave her out so I can see her. Otherwise, I forget about her. I neglect her by mistake. But I want to go ahead and make sure that I remember this Rickshaw Bagworks case. Another pen that I constantly keep inked is a German pen, and it is this Kaveco. I'm not counting this as part of the count because I always keep her inked. I also have another pen that I use for drawing that I keep inked. I don't count these as my currently inks, although they stay permanently inked. So I'm always throwing this into my bag, usually for travel, but definitely bumming around the city when I don't want to carry a very expensive fountain pen. This one is always usually with me for sure. So that is technically, I'm going to have 8 fountain pens inked, if you think about it, or 9 fountain pens inked, because 2 of them are always in my permanent collection. They never go away. This one and another one that I use for drawing. I have this one that's a special set aside, so that one is also going to be used towards the count, or I can use it as part of the count, actually. Why don't I do that? And I can just go ahead and do this as part of the count, actually, because now I have room in my case because my case is empty. And I will be storing all of my fountain pens in my tried and true, this is my Galen Leather 6-pin, sorry, that's the swatcher, case. I absolutely love this case. If I needed to take this while I travel, I can also take this case with me, but this holds 6 slots, so one of the 6 will be, voila, my Pelican. And I'm going to use 2 Pelicans this month. So the other Pelicans that I have out of this case, I'll zoom in so that you guys can see this a little bit better. is I do have my M. That's the 800. I'm gonna go ahead and ink up this M600. Or am I? Let me see here. Let me just bring this back down. I think actually I'm going to use the tortoise white because it's so springy, and this one's a little bit deeper green for summer. So I'll use the tortoise M400. I'll put that one into my case. I do want to write with my Lamy 2000. It's been a minute since I've written with that. So that'll be 3. And I'm going to write with my white in special edition, but I want to change out the nib. So let me do that. So that'll take care of the 40 case. And I do have spare nibs from Lamy. I want to go ahead and, let me just put this over here like this. I do want to put this in an extra fine. I was in Ginny Bic yesterday and I got my hands on an extra fine, and I think I want to write with it. And it's this itty bitty one right here. It's so tiny. But I'm going to take this one off because this one is a fine. I'm going to have a lot of extra fine nibs. Let me see if I can just, I might need to get my grip, because I'm going to try a paper towel, try to wiggle it. Lamy nibs usually come off fairly easy, but I haven't wiggled off this nib in a minute. Hold on just a second. Okay, I just used like a jar grip to get that one off. So that's the fine. I'm going to put on an extra fine. And because this is a German nib, it's going to write broader than usual. And you just slide that back on, and voila. That's how easy the Lamy grips are. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one over here. Stick it in my little case, which is great because I haven't written with this pen in a minute, so this will be fun. So that's the Lamy. This is the Lamy Safari Special Edition because it has the red clip on it. And then I think the last 2 pens I'm going to use for the month of March is going to be 2 out of my Kaweco case. And I'm going to lift you up a little bit. Hopefully I don't have you guys too crooked. And as you can see, I have a ton of Kawecos, but I want something kind of springy. And I've already got a white, so that'll take out the pearl version and the coconut. I know there's brass. These are feeling very autumnal for me, so I'm going to go back over to the other side. Let me put this here. Actually, I think I had it like that. I think I'm going to do, let me look at my colors here really quick. I've got a white, a blue-green. I've got a black already, so definitely don't want to use that. I'm just thinking about the ink colors that I have and the ink that I want. So I think I'm going to actually write, should I do the rose gold or should I do, maybe I should do this blue. I'll do the rose gold. I like this color, and it's an aluminum, so it's got some heft to it. So that's 3, that's 4, 5, that's 5 to my collection, and I've got 1 more. I don't want to use the black, even though I love the black. I think it would be kind of fun to use, oh, I like the teal. It's very summery though, that kind of color. Let me look at this one and look at this one. Let me just see what nibs I have in here. This one is a fine. I think that one would work. It feels like I've got ink still left in it. Hold on just a second, people. Oh, it's just got it on the nib itself. I think I'll use this one. This is a nice spring departure, so I'll use that one, and I will put this one back. All right, so I have my 6 pens. I haven't written with Kivekos in a while. I'm kind of excited that we're going to go ahead and ink up for the month of March. I think that's a good looking collection for me. All right, so the ink colors that I have picked, take that one to the side. I've got Colorverse Brunch Date, and let me just bring back my little sample pads that I write with. And they're both Tomo River paper, old school. I still have some left, so I'm kind of lucky that way. So I'm going to go ahead and ink these up then. Let me think of color preference. Okay, first color up, Brunch Date by Colorverse. I am going to ink that one up with the Kaweco in Rose Gold, AL, aluminum. And let's just go ahead and pull this out. These things are so tiny. Let me just pull this to the side because I don't want to knock and bump. I don't need that one because I don't have it in a tester. But let's just see if I can plunge this down and get it to come back up with some ink in it. Otherwise, I tend to do these with a ink syringe. And it's in there, but it's not. Oh, for good grief. Okay. Sometimes you try to do things the right way. If nothing else, the pen is primed. One thing about Kivekos, they do not take a lot of ink, so you don't need to actually suck up a lot of ink, but it is kind of like a waste of syringe to me. Okay. All right, there is that one. And this is definitely a inky fingers video. Put the cap on here. Actually, I've got my little testers here. So before I do that, let me give you guys what the samples look like on 2 types of Tomo River paper. So the actual ink color itself, absolutely gorgeous. The one thing about using this wonderful glass spoon is it's such a lovely way to get a good size ink sample down without it being too much. Okay, so first ink, we've got Colorverse Brunch Date, and it's in my Kaweco. Sorry for the shake. AL Sport in Rose Gold, and my old eyes can't see very well. I think this is in what? I gotta double check that. I know. I should have had it handy. I didn't think it was going to be such an issue. But the etching for the font or the nib size is so small. I got to look it up. It is. This is a medium. Oh my goodness. Medium nib. Yay. Okay, so this is in the Kaweco AL Sport. Rose Gold. And we have a medium nib. Love it. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And I will, at the end, definitely zoom up into that so that you guys can see what these look like up close. Nothing drives me more batty than not being able to see stuff in a closer view. Okay, so I'm a little bit torn. I'm going to go ahead then and do this next AL sport. The next Kaweco. I just gotta suck out the color here. I think this one is one of those wonderful Kaweco Elite colors that I have. I kind of consider this almost like a lilac color, but I would have to go and look at my fountain pen companion screen to see what it says, but I think it's considered like a lilac color. And because I already know it's disastrous to try to ink these things up with anything other than a syringe, I'm going to just go ahead and grab my ink sample here for the next color. Oops. Literally, it takes nothing on ink. I can't believe it. I did too little. Cannot believe it. I do want a full fill of this because I don't want to have to keep coming back if I don't have to. All right. And I'm just to the side over a piece of paper towel right now because I want to feed or prime the nib so that it's got ink in it because I didn't dip it like I did the Colorverse one. And it might take a second for the ink to flow down, or I can just try to dip it into the container. Next color that we have in the range is Pale Violet by Everet. It's a little bit too much ink. Let's just see. And I'll go ahead and dip this a little bit just to kind of get the nib wet. And with Kawecos, it's always helpful to put the cap on it because it's such a small pen. Okay, so this is Everet, Pale Violet. And I'm feeling like this nib. Wow. I should have probably thought about changing some of these nibs out. All right, so this is a Kaweco Sport. And this is a Elite Royalty. And I think that's a special edition. And this nib is a broad. And this one is Everet, Pale Violet, Kaweco Sport. Oh, Elite Royalty. Sorry, I almost said Royalty Elite. Royalty. And this is in a broad. Nice color. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back down a little bit so you guys can see better. So that's pen number 2. Pen number 3, I have a blue. So the blue is going to be, because I cannot wait to write with this. I'm very excited about this blue. And it is going to be Diamine Polar Glow. I absolutely love this color. And because I don't have a lot of space in there, that is a blue. That one I am going to use in my Pelikan M800. And hold on just a second. Let me just... This is going to be very interesting. Hopefully I got something in there. Looks like I have a little less ink, and I want to definitely shut the cap. I got ink all over my fingers, but I love this. It's kind of a purplish blue kind of color. It's absolutely gorgeous. So this is Diamine, Polar Glow. The ink is in a Pelican M800 extra fine. And I love the difference in the paper, so I can't wait to show you guys what that looks like. So this is Diamine, Polar Glow, and this is in a Pelican M800, and this one's extra fine. And with that, we'll put that pen away. I do love how easily this filled up with ink. It's absolutely very fun. Okay, so I've got 3 down, 3 to go. The next one up, I am going to stick in. This is, yeah, I think I am. Okay, the next ink I have up is Van Diemen's, and it is Peanut Brittle. It's kind of a golden color. I was looking for a yellow, and I was at first not going to use that color because I thought, let me just suck this up here really quick. Oh. I've got water off to the side on my syringe. I'm going to stick this one in the Lamy Special Edition and the extra fine. I just got to make sure I have a cartridge, and I do. Yay. All right, so let's just bring this down into here. Oh. The white grip section is making me a little bit nervous, so I am also going to fill this one. Oh, if I can get this out with the ink syringe. I'm all for sucking up stuff, but like when I have a white body, I don't know about you guys, but when you have a white body, you just don't want to stain it. I think that's the appropriate way of stating that. So we're just going to go ahead and fill. Yep. Get that in there. That snapped in very nicely. I'm going to go ahead and tap this out to the side here. Let me just, I need to clear off my glass end here. It's got blue on it still. Let me show you what Peanut Brittle looks like. It's a very pretty color. And that's what Peanut Brittle looks like. And I'll go ahead and prime the nib with a little bit of color, just so that's there. Let me put this lid back on so I don't get ink everywhere. I've already had one very bad ink accident this week, and I don't need another one. Okay, so this is Van Diemen's Peanut Brittle. And this is in a Lamy Special Edition. I think this is just a regular Safari. So there's that one. Let me just move this over. I've got water all in front of me, so let me just wipe this down really quick so I don't carry it over. Oh, and this is a extra fine. Okay, so this is Van Diemen's. Peanut Brittle. And this is in a Lamy Special Edition Safari. And this is an extra fine. All right, there's that. Next up, ooh, can't wait to use this color. I have the Lamy 2000. We'll get this one. And this is a little bit like a blind filler. But I love this pen. But it did stain my window a little bit, but it should be okay. I have cleaned it out. Next up, this color is kind of like a sunset to me. It's kind of an orangish, reddish yellow. I absolutely love this color. I usually use it in fall. One of the things that I had to do is I had to clean up the cap. It was just gross. And actually, I love this ink because it shades so beautifully, but I gotta shake it really quick too. It's a great shading ink. Absolutely gorgeous color. And I'm surprised I haven't used it more because I've got quite a bit in this bottle. And this is, love that color. Oh my God. This is Diamine Autumn Oak. And like I said, it's great for the autumn and the fall, but I just decided that I was going to go ahead and use it now. All right, so that's that one. Let me just wipe off my glass spoon. I cannot use an ink syringe with this one, so I have to fill this one the old school way. And one thing I like about this Lamy pen is it does a really good job of sucking up a little bit of ink, I think, pretty quickly. It's been a long time since I filled this pen. Oh, I just saw the ink window kind of look like it's full, so I think I got something in there. Getting down to the nit and the grit here. Ooh, I almost dropped my glass spoon on this table. That would have probably broke it. Okay, so what I have is Diamine. Oh, hold on just a second. Ooh, I did not. I thought I got ink and I did not. I'm not seeing anything in my ink window. Hold on just a second. And where's the breather hole in this one? Because it's, okay, it's in. Thinking I got stuff in here. It's hard to tell sometimes with this pen, but it looks like I do. Okay. So, hold on just a second. I'm going to write here over on the side here. Just see, got to clear out some older ink because I see some older ink in here.
A few moments later.
Okay, good Lord. That took a minute, a lot longer than I wanted it to. But I think I finally got this where we can say this is Diamine Autumn Oak. And this is the Lamy 2000. And I think this one is in a fine. And I'm just going to do some squigglies because it's just, it was clogged up in there. Now this ink can have properties of shading in it, and almost when you look at the top of the cap, you don't see any colors, but it does have a lot of red in it to give it that kind of orangey kind of color. It's kind of a perfect orange kind of color, but I absolutely love it, even though it does remind me of fall. And I love the use of yellow versus kind of cream paper versus white paper. You can really see the difference. Mommy 2000. This is a fine. Yeah, and I'm still squiggling just because I want to make sure I see the colors. Okay, so that one is finally ready to go for action. And last but not least, it's going to be another Pelican. And this one is the Pelican in Tortoise. It's a M400. So now I have a 400, a 600, and the last one that I have left is the 1000. And I don't know if I'm going to get that one. It took me forever to get to a point where I could do the 800 from a cost perspective, because they're not cheap pens. Worth it, but not cheap pens. I absolutely did love this. So the last color is Pilot Irizuku Shiku Ren. Nice spring green color. This sample I have had sitting around for quite some time. I did this test file probably 2 years ago, and I think because I have had it sitting around, it has aged to be a little bit more of a slightly darker green, but I think that once it dries, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So here it is on this paper, and it is rendering a little bit darker, like I said, than I think you would get if you were using it fresh out of the bottle, because my bottle ink looks a little bit lighter, but I kind of like this green, so I'm not complaining. And on a cream color paper, it looks much paler, much richer, but paler. So I think that it should be okay. Yeah. All right, so there's the last of that swatch with the glass teaspoon. Let me go ahead and get this into the pen. And because of its translucency, you can actually see the piston bob going down. But I will say Pelican pens probably are the most easily filled pens that I have. Now if I can't fill it off of this sample, I'll get the bottle, because I definitely still have a bottle, but it's it's not filling. So let me just see. It is completely submerged down into the tube too. But for some reason, frustration, it is not sucking up. So I'm going to have to go and grab the bottle really quick. And since I'm going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and trash this sample. Okay, so because I had to get the actual bottle and I couldn't get the ink to suck up for what little I had in the sample, as you can see, I have the bottle of Shiku Ren, and it's still looking like Lisa might need to work on a new green from Pilot. I know that they're in the process of changing some of their ink colors out, but I think I got some ink going on in here. Yep, success. All right. And you know, this color is, I'm going to, because I did that swatch previously with the old sample, let me show you what the true color looks like. And we'll just ignore these. Let's just go ahead and look at what it looks like and see if there's a difference. Now we'll tell if there's a difference. A little bit of a difference on that one, the older version, and here is the newer version. I still think that the The bottle is a little bit lighter and not aged as much as the sample was. The sample might have actually, who knows, I could have frankened it. But I'm definitely liking this one much better. And let me just go ahead and cap or post my M400 because it's a smaller pen. This is kind of the size of a Sailor Pro Gear Slim. So the grip section is much narrower, which I'm starting to know that I actually like pens as I've gotten into this journey a little bit more grippier. So this is Pilot Shizuku Jiku Rin, which is like a spring green in Japanese. And this is the Pelican M400. This is in white tortoise. And this is, I believe, when I bought this pen, yeah, this one's a fine. Okay, so I do think that there's a difference between old Pilot ink and the newer. I think this one is rendering a little bit truer. Pilot Shizuku Jikurin. And this is the Pelican M400. And I'm just going to do WT for white tortoise and F for fine. All right. I think this is a pretty good lineup for the spring season. I'm actually looking at the colors now and I'm really happy with how they look. So let's just, recap, losing paper here, and light. So hold on just a second for light. Let me just open up my window shade because yep, sun's going down. I got some sunlight, but I don't have enough, so I'm just lifting my blinds over here. That give me a little bit more light, and hopefully you guys can see this a little bit better. So February, these were the colors that I had, but these are the colors that I have for March currently inked. I have the Color Verse in Brunch Date. That's that color. I have the Inkabera in the Pale Violet, and I think I had to get a light on because it was just a little bit too dark. Let me just take this down a little bit. Okay, Colorverse has on it the Brunch Date, the Inkabera has the Pale Violet in color, the Pelican M800 has Diamine Polar Glow, which I love. I don't know, I'm going to try to like angle this so you can hopefully see the shading and the sheening on it. It's really, really gorgeous. Come on. I don't know what you're doing here. I'll just do this and a little bit of a zoom up, right? And then I've got in here Van Diemen's Peanut Brittle, and that's got the Lamy 2000 or the Special Edition Safari. Diamine Autumn Oak, which is this lovely color, has the Lamy 2000, has that in it. And then the Pilot Irizuku, you know, the colors actually, when you look at the sample versus the actual bottle, it's not that different, but it is a little bit darker. That one has the Pelican M400 in it. Let's look at the paper samples of the old, this is like the old memo papers from Hobonichi. So, and in that one, if I zoom, this one's a cream colored paper. So this one is Brunch Date. That's what it looks like in Brunch Date. And then the Inkabera Pale Violet. That's what that looks like. Diamine Polar Glow is absolutely gorgeous. And you can see the shading elements in that one. Peanut Brittle has the Lamy Safari in the special edition with the red clip. Lamy 2000, this is Diamine Autumn Oak. I absolutely love this color, but you do not see the movement of that like you see it here on white paper. So there is a difference for the cream versus the white. And then the difference between the sample and the actual out of the bottle, not that different again on the cream paper for the Pilot Irizuzuku Shikuren. And that has the Pelican M400 has that ink in it. So those are March currently inked samples. Sorry for, I had to do a lot of cuts in this on the edit. I can tell already I'm going to have to do a lot of cuts. A little discombobulated, but it's all there. Hopefully you stay to the very end. Let me know what you're doing as far as your inks. Now, part 2 is going to be books. So if you have no interest on what I'm currently reading or have read for the month of February, you don't have to stick around. But if you are a bookish type person and actually enjoy booktube, book talk, etc., stay tuned because I read some really good books in the month of February. I'm not going to do necessarily clips of everything. I will say my book journal is going very well. I'm going to pull out some books here. Sorry, I have to lean over and grab these. I have so many of them over here on the side that I have to kind of move things out of the way. And the stack is quite large because I'm going to talk about kind of like what I got a little bit for the month of March and what I read for the month of February. So February I read, I want to say, I read 6 books in February. Yeah, I read 6 books in February. I thought that was a pretty solid start considering the month was short. The book that I read starting off and kicking off the month was, I finished Jade War by Fonda Lee. That is ending up being a very good trilogy so far. I really enjoyed book 2, which was the Jade War. I am going to try to pick up book 3 of that trilogy. If I don't do it this month, I'm definitely going to do it next month because I don't want too much time to expire. And I'm not going to go into detail about all these books because I do a review of the books at the beginning of the month usually. So I'll put a link somewhere over here in the channel, you know, of that one. Next up, I read, and this one was one of those books that I just wanted to read it because I heard so much about it. But I read Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. This is a dystopian book. Jade War is magical realism, I would say is Jade War, but it's leaning on fantasy. This is fantasy leading on dystopian fiction. This book was really, really good. A little bit depressing, I will say. It was kind of heavy hitting. It was Black History Month, and I do try to read a lot of African American or Black writers if I can. I know Fonda Lee is not African American, but I only read her for like a day into the month of February. I was wrapping her up, so I just wanted to finish wrapping her up. So I did read Parable of the Sower. This book is really, really good. But it's kind of like, I struggled with the protagonist. I won't say that it was an easy read. At times it was a little bit challenging. I do find it a little odd that Octavia Butler, she's no longer with us, but I do find that it was interesting that she kind of talked about where we're at like in 2025, 2024, 2025, kind of a little bit spot on, not maybe as extreme, but some of the things that she talks about or wrote about are actually happening now. So I did find that to be kind of freaky. Good book, I will say. If you're looking for like one of the few African American women who are writing in this space at that time, check her out. Don't know if I'm going to read her second book that she has out. I know that there's Parable of the Sower, and I think it's Parable of the Truths or something like that is her second book. I don't know if I'm going to read the second one, but this one was a very good read. So I will say that was one of the books that I read in February. The next up, for my nonfiction read, and it did not have to be from an African American author, I did read Surrounded by Idiots. I just felt like I wanted to get a nonfiction in for the year so I don't fall too behind on just getting completely caught up in the world of fiction. Surrounded by Idiots, as it says here, it talks about the 4 types of human behavior and how to effectively communicate with each of them in business and life. The author, Thomas Erikson, is a Swedish, I do believe, Swedish author. His father and him started this journey. His father unfortunately passed away while he was writing this book. It does kind of color code your behaviors by these 4 colors. So there's red, yellow, blue, and green. Kind of like Myers-Briggs type personality type test a little bit. I did find it to be informative. I wouldn't say it was like, oh my God, this is like the book to read, but it was kind of helpful in understanding the overlap in people's behavior and their personalities a little bit. And nobody is usually any one solid color. You're usually a combination of both, but this was a good read. Next up on my reading list, I had Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. Back into Black African American History Lit. I love James Baldwin's writing. It's very, he just writes beautiful prose. This book talks about the life of one particular Black family, I would say, living in Harlem, New York, kind of at the precipice of probably the Great Depression era, late 20s. You understand the struggles and the personalities, albeit at times it's a very heavy read of this one particular family. It starts off with this young man's birthday. And I forgot, I know, I read so many books, but I think his name is, I'm just trying to remember, Baldwin. Baldwin and his family, his mom, his dad, their relationship, the relationship with each others, how they all came up from the South to like land in New York City and live in Harlem, and just kind of like the harshness of trying to make it at this time where you still have to deal with systemic racism in America, even in New York City, and just the plight of this family. Very good book. Definitely, I think I gave this like a 4.75 stars book. I loved it. Next up, I needed something a little bit lighter because I'm reading all this really heavy stuff. I read Washington Black, which I thought was going to be, it's been on my radar. It was on my radar last year, and I didn't get to it. And so I wanted to read this story. This story talks about a person who is in slavery down in, I want to say Barbados, definitely Caribbean. Yeah, Barbados. He works on a sugar plantation. His name is Washington Black. He ends up being, how can I say this? The slave owner's brother basically recruits him to be part of his mission, and the slave owner's brother is a naturalist, a scientist, and an abolitionist, it turns out. And it's like basically he takes Washington Black on this journey with him, and they needed to flee a certain situation. I don't want to give too much of this away. This book was good. It was definitely a solid read. Washington Black ends up leading a much more diverse and expansive life than he ever thought he probably was as he was sitting on a plantation in Barbados. And it's basically his journey and his relationship with the slave owner's brother, who, again, it's you read so many of these books. I don't have my notes with me either, but the brother who basically Titch, who takes him away. This was actually a really good book, and I gave this one, I think I gave it like a 3.75 stars. It was a solid read. I really did enjoy it. Check it out. All right. So that is those are 4 of the books that I read. 5 was Jade Ward. That was number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the 6th book that I think I only got through 5 books, it looks like. I'm sorry, I only got through 5 books. I started, I'm sorry. I got through, it's on my Kindle, that's why. I read Chain Gang All-Stars. I'll put a copy of what the book looks like while I'm talking about it. That book, you guys, that book has been highly touted on Book Talk, BookTube, Goodreads, Amazon, BookBub. I mean, every kind of book sight that you can think of. That book was, you just feel like you got smacked smacked down and around on that book. That book was really, really good. I mean, it's so effed up, but it was so good that you're going to have to read that one for yourself. It's called Chain Gang All Stars, and the author is Nama. I can't do her name. I can't do her name justice. But the book is fantastic. I mean, and in a really kind of twisted, effed up kind of way. It just is one of those books that when you read it, it's going to sit with you. It's going to sit with you. Okay, Go Tell It on the Mountain, even Washington Black a little bit, Parable of the Sower, because it is Black History Month. Some of these themes are going to just, if you have any kind of empathy, I think are going to sit with you for just a minute. It's definitely a worthwhile read. I think I gave that one a 4.25 stars. I did give Go Tell It on the Mountain a 4.5. I gave Washington Black 3.75. Parable of the Sower, I gave it a 4.0. Surrounded by Idiots, I don't have my ranking on here, and I gave Jade War 4.5. Next up for March, I just want to talk about March a little bit. I do have my March picks out, but I also bought some new books. My place that I live in, they did a book exchange. So one of the books that is not up for March, but it's a book that I definitely want to read. I've had my eye on this author. I picked her as far as my TBR jar for last year, and I never got around to her, but I am going to get around to her. And I found this, I got this book, y'all, for free at a book exchange, and that is N.K. Jemisin, the 5th season. I would have read her for Black History Month because she is a African-American sci-fi writer. And I don't know if she does fantasy, but she definitely does sci-fi, and she is a Terp like me. Go ho, woohoo, University of Maryland. All right, so I want to read her. I don't know when I'm going to get to her. She's a good chunky one. She is 468 pages, so I don't know how and when I'm going to get to her this year, but I am going to get to her this year. So I got this one in the month of March. And then 2 other books that I bought for the month of March are Frederick Backman's Anxious People. I know he's on Netflix. I hate these little stickers. But the show is on Netflix, so I'm trying to get through the book before I watch the series. I started watching the series, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad I bought the book. So I'm going to read the book, and then I'm going to watch the TV series on Netflix. Eleanor Oliphant is from another person that I watch on BookTube, one of my BookTubers that I like. Kalea, I watch her. She said she loved Eleanor Oliphant. It's completely fine. I bought her for the month of March. She is on my read. I've read her. This book is a trip, y'all. That's all I got to say. Check it out and read it. It is not, it's real, so it's like contemporary lit. The woman is a Scottish writer. Gail Honeyman is a Scottish writer. Very good book. Didn't blow my socks off. I would say that, but it was a solid read. And there's nothing wrong with a 3.75 book. You just got to be in the mood for it. But it is about a woman who kind of is socially awkward, who goes through trials and tribulations to kind of come out of her shell. And there's more to it than that. But that book is absolutely a very good read as well. Also that I have up for the month of March for my TBR picks, I have Tainted Cup by Peter Jackson. And I'll put his card up over here. I'm looking forward to that. That is going to be fantasy. When I get to that one, I'll probably do a little bit of a brief synopsis on it. I don't have my synopsis written out. I'm just going to show you books that I've bought and books that I plan to read for this month. I had a Libby pick, and so right now, and I'll put this over to the side, I am currently reading Love in a Time of Cholera, which is by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Colombian writer, former I think he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. He's no longer with us. He has passed away. He wrote a 1,000 Years of Solitude, which is with the book that I really wanted to get from the library, but Love in the Time of Cholera was the only one that was available, and it actually became available. So I'm listening to that on Audible. And that is classified as a romance because it is romantic, but it's also, I would say, just classic literature. It's a story of about 5 different people living in Colombia, South America, and they're in a time where they're going through cholera and various like internal civil wars in their own country. And just basically, right now, I'm in the section of the book where one of the characters has been in love with this woman, even though she was married, and he ended up wishing her husband basically death. And he does die in the book, but he's a famous physician, and he ends up passing away by suffering from a fatal fault. And that is not a spoiler. That's in the book itself. So when you look at the book jacket, but it basically talks about the love and romances of these 5 characters throughout time. A little bit of historical fiction because they do talk about things that are happening in Colombia, South America, as well as parts of like Europe, specifically France. So there's a little bit of that. So I've got Love in a Time Cholera I'm currently reading. The other books that I wanted to read, and I've got two new additional books, and I am stepping away because I got to get my book journal really quick. I'm sorry, I forgot to grab it. So I've got 2 other books that I'm trying to read, which is, oops, sorry to bump the table. I got to get my little book icons out here. I was supposed to read Giovanni's Room in the month of February. I don't think I'm going to get to it, but I am going to try to get to Onyx Storm is another book that I'm trying to get to, and Red Rising, and that's it. Tainted Cup, Red Rising, yes. So I'm going to try to get to Onyx Storm because I've got that book as well. That's another book that I picked up last month, and I've got Red Rising. So I've got these 2. And Red Rising, just in case you're looking for it and you are a Apple subscriber, it's on Apple Books right now for $5.99 if you don't mind getting the book electronically. That's a good place to go and get a book, as well as, you know, Libby and Overdrive if you can do it through your public libraries, but mine are like backlogged for 36 weeks. So I just went ahead and bought it. Okay, 2 other picks that I bought for the month of March. Donna Tartt, The Secret History. I want to get to that by the summer. And The Shadow of the Wind. Okay, Donna Tartt was recommended to me by my cousin. She absolutely loved it, so I'm going to read to you. And I ripped the book yesterday. I'm so bummed. Under the influence of a charismatic classic professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at a New England college discover a way of thought and life a world away from their banal contemporaries. But their search for the transcendent leads them down a dangerous path beyond human construct of mortality. So that is Donna Tartt. That's what that book jacket says. It is a dark academia fantasy book. And then The Shadow of the Wind novel. I've had this one on my radar, again, probably for the last 2 years. So I finally picked it up. And it's Barcelona, 1945. A city slowly heals from its war wounds. And Daniel, an antiquarian book dealer's son who mourns the loss of his mother, finds solace in a mysterious book entitled The Shadows of the Wind by Julian Caravax. But when he sets out to find the author's other works, he makes a shocking discovery. Someone has been systematically destroying every copy of every book Caravax has written. In fact, Daniel may have to have the last of Caravax's books in his existence. Soon Daniel's seemingly innocent quest opens a door into one of Barcelona's darkest secrets, an epic story of murder, madness, and doomed love. And so that one is going to probably take me a while because this is going to be a mood this is going to be a mood read for sure. This one not so much. I think I'm always in the mood for a good fantasy, and I've got fantasy with Tainted Cup as well, but this one might take me a little bit because, you know, they always say that this one is kind of like across, they said, and this includes A Shadow of the Wind walking tour, Barcelona. Okay, and I've been to Barcelona, so I'm going to be interested to see what they talk about in Barcelona as far as this one's concerned, but I've had my eye on this one for a while. I just don't think I'm going to get to it anytime soon. All right, so that concludes the wrap up of March Currently Inked, my March TBR by Long-Winded Way of what I read in February as well. So a February recap all in one video. I won't probably shoot another video this month until probably the end of March, when I'm kind of winding down some of the books that I've read in March. So I think what I'm going to start doing on this channel is stretching out my videos. I'm sorry, I know I keep saying I'm going to be doing stuff with this channel, but I'm evolving, and the channel is going to be evolving as I evolve as well. I've got stuff kind of going on this year that I got to get to that is going to probably pull me away that I didn't anticipate at the beginning of the year. And I know we're only 3 months in, but hopefully you stick around and watch my channel and continue to check it out. So definitely we'll be posting at least bi-monthly, probably at the beginning and the end of the month, going forward for now, until I kind of can get through a good chunk of this year, because I just got too much stuff going on. All right, I love you guys. Take care. I really do appreciate all the feedback. Let me know what you're currently inking. Let me know what you're currently reading. And then until next time, take care. Bye.